My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service here in Ontario, Canada. And there's a couple of things I want to do. Well, first of all, I need to reverse the screen on TikTok because that's driving me bananas. It's a regular complaint for me. I do not understand why it does that. You would think that, well, I do know why it does that because most people have coordination issues. If you go left and it goes right, it throws people off. So mirroring is, I guess, easier. I just can't stand the way it looks. Everything's backwards, especially because I'm standing behind, a background that says Toronto Police, and I want Toronto Police to be just that. So Toronto Police is properly displayed. I can be on that, Toronto Police above my head. I am currently streaming on YouTube. Well, actually, let's start at order of operations, order of importance. We're on TikTok. TikTok is our primary. This is where we started. This is how this all began. We're also on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn Live, and we're on Twitch, and we just started doing this thing on Instagram Live. And you know what? We're getting a steady, regular group, but it's nowhere near the volume that we see on TikTok. So that's why TikTok's where it's at. I want to tell you, for anyone who's in Toronto, that today is December 8th, and our officers from Vision Zero are currently in 31 Division and 51 Division today. Why do I bring this up? What is Vision Zero? What am I talking about? What? Well, let me tell you. Vision Zero is a dedicated enforcement team. They are the folks that go off in the city and focus on the big four infractions, driver behaviors. They're the driving behaviors that lead to serious injury and death on our roads. So they are speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, and impaired driving. And they are out there day in, day out, and that's all they do. They don't go to radio calls. They don't go to collision scenes. They go to find drivers who are violating the rules and ticket them. And they're fantastic at it. I got to change something on my things. I can't see any of the chat messages that are currently being sent to me by Q. So let me move my window over.
Hi.
Hi, how's it going?
It's going. Doing audio check.
Cool. IG sounds horrible, but that's IG. I think it just sounds horrible all the time. Let me see. Is it too loud? Was it going too loud? Should I drop down the volume a little bit?
It sounded echoey.
Echoey. Can't help that. Don't know why. I've dropped the volume. Let me know if that's any better. We may have touched a knob. Knobs, you can't trust them. Okay, so let me know if that's any better. Now, so we talked about the Vision Zero enforcement team. Awesome guys who have awesome cars. You may be noticing some unmarked vehicles in your neighborhood. Maybe some sports cars, maybe some SUVs, pickup trucks, things like that. Anything could be a police vehicle, and be warned. IG still can't. Yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. We're moving on. I have a solution, by the way, why Instagram can't hear you. I think it's because it's TRS to TRRS. So I've ordered an adapter. It should be here today. We'll find out tomorrow if it works. Assuming it's delivered today on the company that delivers when you buy a membership. Anyway, we'll find out. I like buying these doodads to try and improve things. So we'll see if we have a solution. If you are watching and you have questions, that's what we're here for. Ask your questions. That's what you do. Throw it to the Q&A section. I don't generally spend time in the chat. I don't have time to spend time in the chat. We only have an hour. And today we even have, well, I won't say we have less time. We're going to be joined by Jerry Agar from News Talk 1010 around 9:30. We'll go on to his show on the air in Toronto, and he'll come on to ours and say hello back. So that's cool. Now, maybe you won't be able to hear him on Instagram because we have that issue, but I'll do my best to reiterate whatever he says, and you can let me know if you don't hear. We'll figure that out. We'll get to that bridge or cross that bridge when we get there. Yeah, whatever. Big Jeff Fresh, good morning to you. He's coming in from YouTube. If you are on any of the platforms that we are currently streaming on, you can, of course, talk to us. Say hello. And that's going to be YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, TikTok. I haven't added a logo for Instagram yet. Twitter and Facebook. That's where we are. And we are here Monday to Friday. 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. Now, we're talking about doing different times and experimenting. Now, I will be leaving on vacation. I will be staycation. I'll be not in the office for 2+ weeks. So I'm gone basically Friday, and I won't be returning, I think, to the 28th or 29th. So what's the deal? What's going to happen? Will I still be here to answer your questions? I won't be sitting here, but I will. I will be coming and posting stuff onto TikTok, and I will do some lives. They will be from the home office. I'll be back to my auxiliary days. If you don't know what an auxiliary is, that's a volunteer member of the service. I'll be volunteering sometime, but I don't want to leave you guys high and dry. When you have questions, I want to be there to answer it for you. So I will be doing that. That's something that I mentioned to my management team, saying, hey, I don't want to leave anyone on TikTok waiting for answers, because this is where you come for the answers. And with that, let's move on. I don't know if you caught our little post yesterday. We went and we had a positive post on the internet. It's amazing. And we're going to talk about actually, maybe I should wait for that. I'll give you a hint. We did 104 breath tests, roadside breath tests for looking for impaired drivers on the road on Monday. Yesterday was Tuesday. Today's Wednesday. Yeah. Okay. It was Monday. And 104 tests, and it was pretty good. I'll give you more information. If you didn't already see it, you can jump ahead and go to Twitter and find out what the answer is, because I posted a TikTok video about that. And good morning, Ryan. Ryan Pinn just jumped in. He's a driving instructor from Nova Scotia, and he says good morning to everybody. Yeah, so the deal is that we had some positive stuff. We had some not so positive stuff over the weekend. From Friday 6 p.m. till Monday 6 a.m., we arrested 34 people for impaired operation offenses. So that's a wild number. That's not acceptable at all. We have Lee Hart 72 said hello.
He didn't say hello. He wanted to tell you that his wife likes you.
Oh, my bad. I misunderstood the message. So Lee Hart doesn't like me, but his wife does.
I think so.
Okay, that's fair enough. Okay, we got Will with a good morning, happy Wednesday. Throw that up on screen for you. If you are asking in the Q&A section, I can actually put your question on screen when I respond to it, so that's kind of cool. I don't see anything coming in the Q&A on Instagram, but there is a Q&A section on Instagram. And, of course, across all of the other platforms, you can definitely drop a line. In fact, let us know where you're watching from. We often have people coming in from Germany, from Ireland. Australia is a regular. We have regular visitors from Australia. So if you're coming in from there, by all means, say hello.
Lee Hart wants to clarify that he also likes you.
Okay, thank you very much, Leah. I appreciate it. Let's see here. If it's your fault if you slip on ice, then hit a car. Got cut off, but that's what the end of the message was. So let's assume that you're talking about when you are driving a motor vehicle of your own, you lose control because of the ice, and you are in a collision. Yes, despite the fact that you slip on ice, you are still responsible for the collision that ensues. Now, if it's determined that it was because you were driving too fast for the conditions, obviously in slippery, icy conditions, you got to slow down, and many people don't do that. Like the 6 collisions I heard about this morning on the Don Valley Parkway. If you're just driving as if it's a summer day and we're in December and road conditions are constantly changing, you have to slow down, and that's a huge thing. We're seeing way too many people going fast, even on dry conditions are going too fast, but they're still going way too fast when it comes to winter driving. We got a shout out from Wisconsin saying hello. Wisconsin, I don't think we've ever had a hello from Wisconsin, so thank you for dropping in. Kayla's in Brampton. Good morning to you. Kayla, thanks for dropping by. One of our regular viewers. I got to fix my sleeves. They're driving me crazy. Sorry for the sound effects while I do that. What is that called?
ASMR.
ASMR. I was going to say UCMR. That's a Unit Commander's Morning Report. Different terminology. Okay. Is a megaphone legal on a vehicle? A megaphone could be illegal, not to be used as a siren, but to be used as a sounding device. Hang on one sec. I got News Talk 1010 tuning in just to do our sound check. Good morning, News Talk.
Good morning. It's Nick. How you doing, Sean?
Good, Nick. Long time no see. Don't talk.
I know but it's not on purpose, though. We've been doing different schedules, but this is my last week before the holidays.
Mine too.
Awesome. So drive safely, of course. We're all set to go. How do we sound to you?
Sound loud and clear. We've got you. We can leave you on in the background if you leave it without the news feed, and if you want to pop in when you're ready to go, we'll do that, or we can put you in the background and just send us a text when you're ready. Whatever works.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, I'll keep the feed going just to be sure we have it streaming properly, and
sure.
Then I'll give you a shout out just around 9:30 or so.
Sounds good. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Sean.
Talk to you soon.
The legislature has opted to not require only.
Wait, he didn't turn off the feed. Wait.
He said he was going to keep the feed going, so he was going to text us after. So I'm just going to put him in the back, and then we'll deal with it.
Maybe send him a message and just remind him that we put him in the background because the feed didn't turn off. So anyway, let's.
So who are you?
Who am I? My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service in Ontario, Canada, and I go live on social media on like a regular basis, Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. You just heard Nick from News Talk 1010. He's the guy running the board. So Jerry Agar, who is the host on that radio channel or station, will be joining us at about 9:30. So we were just doing a sound check. We're just addressing a question that came in from P. I don't know what this name is. It's too small because I got the phone way away, and apparently these glasses need to be magnified. But the question was, is a megaphone legal on a vehicle? And the answer is, it depends. If you're driving around playing music and it's going to be unnecessary noise, no different than if you had loud exhaust pipes, loud music playing from your in-car stereo or if you were honking your horn. So you can't use it as a siren. You can't use it for much of anything that's disruptive. But if you were using it for a legitimate purpose, you were trying to get someone's attention for a legitimate, purpose. I don't know what that legitimate purpose is right now, but it's not illegal to have it on. It depends on how you use it. So use it with caution. Sault Ste. Marie sends us a good morning. What's happening? I just met with someone from Sault Ste. Marie, a member of the media team from your police service, and he was awesome. That was Link. Shout out to Link. Okay. Can I have an open 0.5 beer while driving? Well, you're saying that by definition, 0.5 has alcohol in it. I don't think it classifies as an alcoholic beverage, but it is alcohol. I would say don't have it. If you had truly non-alcoholic beer, it wouldn't be an issue because it's non-alcoholic. I'd have to phone a friend to find out if the 0.5 beer is an issue, but I would say it is just because there's alcohol in it, and you can't have open alcohol in a car. Okay. Is it legal to put Christmas lights on a car? We've had this question a couple of times. So if you're going to put up Christmas lights on your car, they can't be blinking red because blinking or flashing red is a prohibited item under at least to anything other than to the rear, because you can have obviously brake lights or signals that may be red. But having flashing lights in your vehicle is an offense, especially when it's to the front, because it's a traffic clearing effect. It's covered under police lights and such. And such. I don't know, I'm making up words now. And such. So, yeah. If they're going to be minor accent lights, they're not super bright, you might be okay putting them on a roof rack or something. And I think it's great to be in the season and do, celebratory things. So your mileage may vary. You may have issues with certain officers who look at it and say, hey, that violates something. I can't imagine it being a problem, but you never know. Okay. Question is, do you think we're going into another lockdown? I sure hope not. I certainly don't know if we are or we're not, but fingers crossed that things go smoothly and we our medical magicians do what they have to do. Okay. Moving to Ontario temporarily, do I need to change my driver's license? It cut off, but I think that's what you're going for. It depends on how long you're moving here. If you're temporarily less than 30 days, you're just you're temporarily going to be visiting or working remotely here. No, you're visiting. If you actually rent a place, you're a resident here, you're staying here for any length of time, within 30 days or at 30-day mark, you're required to exchange your license from wherever you're from to your to Ontario. But visitors have different rules. Visiting and moving are different. And just based on you saying moving, I'm going to say you have 30 days to change your license. I have my G2 test tomorrow. Any tips? I got lots of tips. Get lots of sleep. It may sound like a weird tip, but it's possibly one of the most important things you can do is get lots of sleep, be rested, do your best to take care of yourself today. No stress. You don't need stress in your life other than the test, right? You got this. You got 8 months to a year, depending if you had training or no training, to get yourself ready. You got it. You want to review the book because you want to double down. Hey, you're reviewing things right now because we're talking about traffic right now on TikTok. So I think you're going to do fine. Stay calm and you know what? Verbalize what you're doing. So when you're in the test during the test, you're driving around doing your thing. Make sure that you state what you're doing. So if you are getting I'll share Ryan's tidbit. So if you're checking your mirrors, I'm just checking my mirrors, making sure it's clear. Check here, I'm going to shoulder check. Doing whatever you're doing. Just say what you're doing. That way, there's no issues. They don't have to have eyes on you to understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. So that's it. Moving on to other things, but Ryan Pinn, who's a driving instructor, says use the bathroom before the road test. That's good advice. Okay. Visiting for 3 months from Manitoba for my work. You know what? I would check with the ministry. 3 months is still not a huge amount of time, but technically, if you're moving, taking up residence, you're supposed to get a license. 3 months may be under the wire for them, but the way the law reads, it may be different. At least the law says you move here 3 months. Temporary, you might be okay. But I'd call the MTO directly to get their take on it since it's their rules. Someone wants to know if they should break up with their boyfriend. Sadly, I can't give you any advice. I don't know your boyfriend. Okay. Paused due to poor connection. Apparently, we're having some Instagram issues, so sorry to those people who are there. We also have a lot of spam happening in chat, so if you're in the chat, please don't spam. We've got wonderful moderators. They're all volunteers. None of them are police officers, and what they're here doing is trying to keep the chat room classy. They want to make sure that there's no spam and prevent anything from getting in the way of getting your questions answered. Okay. Let's see here. we got covered for the G2 already. We just talked about that.
Do you have quotas you have to meet? Do you get commission off of those too?
Oddly enough, we had those exact questions yesterday. No quotas, certainly not in the Toronto Police, and I can't imagine any police service in Ontario doing that. I've heard of it. It's always a conversation where people ask us that question. I think it's because of the movies, but there are no quotas. We don't get commission. There's no free toaster for hitting 1,000, nothing at all. We are simply going out and doing our job. Our job is to keep people safe, and when we see something, we do something. So if we see someone exceeding the speed limit or causing issues in that regard, we pull them over. Now, it doesn't always result in a ticket. Sometimes, sorry, 1 second, I want to give you, I can plug these in. We have a guest listening in from in the office. So I'm just plugging them in so they get audio. That goes over there. They can listen to all sides and hear Q as well. Even though Instagram can't hear Q because Instagram is currently doing it. There's another set of earphones here, Sarge, if you want to listen in. And they're all on.
Sarge.
We got good mornings from Q to the sergeants who are now in the office. And so
there's plurals.
There's 2 sergeants now. We've got Sgt Kulik, we've got Sgt Campbell, we have a visitor, and we've got all these long extension cords for headphones so they can all hear you. Okay, I forgot. I'm off on a tangent now. I forgot what we were saying. Moving on to the
quotas and commissions.
Quotas. So no quotas, no commissions. Yeah, we go out, we do an honest day's work. What does that mean? If we're out for 5 hours and there's no radio calls, I expect that there should be some tickets that come back. Now, whether we write 5 or 10 or 15 is going to be based on the individual officer's abilities and what they saw. But you're not going to get sent home or made to stand in the corner if you don't have the appropriate number of tickets. It's all based on doing work. And if you're busy, you're busy. And there's also a difference between writing a bunch of tickets that are minor or pulling one person over and having it turn into a big investigation because it turns out they don't have insurance and there's issues there with a warrant and you end up taking some of it. So there's no quotas. You just got to do an honest day's work. And then I took the question off and cleared it. What was that question? Do we remember the one that I had on screen? That I did it again? I did it again. We did that yesterday, and then you found it. You scroll down and see if I can find it again because I feel bad. Let's see. No. Holy moly.
Do you remember the first word of it?
Of course not. Oh, this. No, that's not it. Let's see. Is it illegal? Something about. I'm going to find. I see it coming up right here. Good morning. No, no, I don't know what it was. Megaphone, 3 months. No, I don't know what it is. You know what? If I had it on screen, anybody who was watching it, because it was on screen about like 8 seconds ago when I accidentally cleared it, ask again. Even if the person doesn't ask, you can ask on their behalf. We're going to clear the one about the boyfriend because we said we don't know the boyfriend. Can't tell you whether you should break up with him or not. Okay. Are you still registered under insurance after G2? After G2. So do you mean, are you required by insurance companies to be registered as an occasional driver if you reside in the same house as the owner of that vehicle? The deal is that the requirements at that point, I think, are the same. Now, legally, from a policing perspective, hi, Germany. Germany just said hello. I saw a bunch of flags come up on the screen. If you are driving a motor vehicle as a G1, you are often not required to be listed under the insurance policy. Now, that's not a legal thing. That's a requirement by the insurance companies. Again, when you get a G2 and you live, mom and dad or family member, you're living with the owner of that vehicle, insurance companies often want you listed under the insurance company's policy. That's their policy. Legally, you're a licensed driver and you can borrow a car. That's legal. So as a police perspective, or from our perspective, we wouldn't give you a ticket for not having, being listed under the policy. Now, where the problem comes in is if you are in a collision, you're involved in a collision, the insurance company may say, you didn't do what you were supposed to do. We're going to deny your claim. That's up to them, but it's not a policing issue. So hopefully you can see the difference between the two. Okay, just want to see here. Is it illegal to stay in the left lane and block faster traffic? They're saying it makes roads more dangerous. That's from Drew Peacock. So here's the deal. The legal limit in Ontario is the posted limit. So if you're driving on a highway and the speed limit is 100 kilometers an hour, that's the legal limit. So technically, as far as I'm concerned, if you were doing 100 kilometers an hour in the passing lane, you're doing the speed limit. Is it illegal to do that? No. Might it cause an issue? Yes. Because there are people who are exceeding the speed limit, they're breaking the law, and they may be caused to go around you to the right. So the safest thing to do would be to not hang out in the left lane. I don't think it's illegal. I could not charge you, or would not in good faith charge you for not exceeding the speed limit to make speeders and unlawful drivers happy. Now, that's not a popular opinion. Here's the deal. Stay to the right unless you're passing. That is the best answer. Now, can you get a ticket for going too slow? Absolutely. But slow under the speed limit, so much so that you are causing an issue. You're what is the word I'm looking for? Interfering with the traffic is actually another. Impeding traffic is the word that I was looking for. So if you're impeding traffic, and that has to be so slow that it's unreasonable and without a reason. So if there's ice, snow, dirt, rocks, those are reasons that are justifiable. You can reduce your speed. It's just doing 20 in an 80 or doing 40 in a 100. These are dangerous things that would result likely in a ticket. Okay. Is it illegal to keep up with a speeding cop? That's a great question. First of all, the cop isn't necessarily speeding. Well, let me rephrase. Police, fire, and ambulance are permitted to exceed the posted speed limit because there's an exemption under the Highway Traffic Act, giving them legal authority to do that. They're allowed to do that. Regardless if their lights and sirens are on, at least for the police perspective, police are allowed to go without their lights and sirens on. They don't have to be on a call. Fire and ambulance must be on a call, so they would have to have their lights and sirens on, or at very least lights, if I remember correctly, to be able to exceed the speed limit. Or is that for red lights? I have to reread the section. In any case, police do not require a call specifically being assigned in order to exceed the speed limit. So if you are speeding beside them, they're legally allowed to. You're not legally allowed to. Thus, you cannot keep up with a speeding officer or an officer who's exceeding the speed limit, even though they are doing it legally. You would not be. Yeah. That was a very wordy answer.
Yeah, you drink. I ask. Okay. Can you present a digital copy of your license if you don't have a physical one?
You can present whatever you like. Will it be accepted is a different story. In Ontario, you're required to present your actual hard plastic driver's license when a demand is made by a police officer. So when you're stopped, you're going to be asked for license ownership and insurance. That has to be a physical copy, your original driver's license, a valid one. Your ownership can be a original or a true copy. True copy meaning that it is a copy front and back of a valid certificate. And then when it comes to your insurance proof, that can be electronic. That does not have to be the actual piece of paper. So the short answer is, again, you cannot provide, or it's not accepted as a driver's license. That doesn't mean that the police officer looks at the piece of paper that you provide or a photo and doesn't accept it. It's just that they don't have to. It's not a legal, it doesn't meet the requirements. It's certainly beneficial to help prove who you are, because you do have to identify yourself, even if you're getting a ticket. Okay. Let's see here. This is a good question. Is it not overreach to enforce HTA on private property? Well, no, because the law is now changed, and private property, for the purposes of HTA specific to stunt driving, is now accepted. Now, there was always HTA offenses that applied to private property, and those related to license plates and reporting of collisions. Those always were there. So this isn't that much of a stretch to include yet another charge. And there's a justifiable reason for it. People are doing really wild things on private property, and they're creating danger. So it's addressing a problem. It's not willy-nilly making up new laws because we want to be mean today. It's because people are putting themselves and others at risk due to the behavior that they're conducting on private property. Now, the option would be, and maybe you'd prefer this, we've always had the ability of enforcing the criminal code on private property. So you tell me what's better. If I arrest you for dangerous driving when you perform stunts, or I charge you with stunt driving when you perform stunts? Because both are applicable depending on the conditions and whether or not I believe you've met the grade for the criminal charge. This is a much more reasonable way of dealing with it, if you ask me. It also gives the province a way of dealing with things immediately, as opposed to clogging the system up with things that may or may not be most appropriately applied there. Okay, again, wordy answer. In chat, does the HTA have the same effect in Canada? Huh? Okay. So does the HTA have the same effect in Canada? The HTA is our HTA, the Ontario HTA, which is the one that I'm most often referring to, actually almost exclusively referring to, is for Ontario. Every province is going to have their own traffic act of some sorts. The rules of the road are generally the same. The biggest differences tend to be in relation to equipment, whether you can have tint, whether you can have an exhaust, whether things are required or not required, whether you have snow tires in the winter, and so on. Minor things. The general rules of the road are the same, and the reason I'm comfortable saying that is because as an Ontarian, I can drive to Alberta and I know how to drive. And my license is accepted, and the reason for that is because they're generally the same. Even going into the States, my Ontario driver's license is I can't say the word accepted. I need some water there as well, and that's again because the rules of the road are largely the same.
Can I straight pipe my car?
You can do whatever you want as long as you don't drive it on the road. Straight piping, or more specifically, removing mufflers and resonators or equipment that are related to an exhaust system are required equipment. If you take them out, your vehicle is no longer legal for the road. So if you are driving a car with a straight pipe, that's having no muffler, no resonator, or some combination thereof, you can be charged for improper exhaust. And likely, if you get that charge, you're probably also going to be getting an unnecessary noise charge because, we get those hints by the very loud exhaust notes coming from your vehicle. So not a good idea. Don't do that. There's no benefit. We don't want you to be noisy. But and something else that you should know, just because you don't have a modified vehicle doesn't mean that you're not going to get an unnecessary noise charge. Truth is that you could take a stock Honda Civic off the lot, and if you drive it at red line everywhere you go, you are creating unnecessary noise. You may need to know how to shift your gears to prevent that noise from being created, but it's certainly not necessary, and you are disrupting the peace to some degree. Additionally, if you drive around with your stereo blasting, and we can hear it outside your vehicle, at a certain point, you're looking at getting charged with unnecessary noise. Equally, if you drive around with your horn blaring for no reason, it's a warning device. But if you just drive around depressing your horn, making noise for no reason, you're looking at getting a charge. You have some loud talkers in the hallway. Well, I really have to move into the new office. That's got to happen soon. We're going to be relocating into a new space, and we're looking forward to that. But it's a ton of work. So I think it's going to be the new year when I get back from vacation because we're busy folks. Okay, what if you're pregnant and have no choice to speed? Well, you always have a choice. There's a couple of things that you have to take into consideration. One, if you're pregnant and you are speeding because you need to get by yourself to the hospital, you are looking for a problem. What happens if you have contractions? What if you are suddenly having a situation where you are no longer able to safely control your vehicle? My wife, I've watched her twice go through pregnancy. I wouldn't want her driving during that. That's scary. That would be scary. I think she would agree with me, and anyone who's had children would probably agree. Maybe not the best time to be driving. So I'm assuming you're saying, what if you're pregnant and someone else is driving you? Well, that's another situation. Should they be speeding? No, they should call an ambulance. Or you should have planned this well in advance and gone to the hospital before it was an emergency. Now, you can't plan for emergencies, but you can make good choices when you're experiencing one. So calling an ambulance and having them drive where they can exceed the speed limit is your best choice. Now, I understand the argument from many people who are listening who are not in Ontario. The Ontario, the fee that's associated with drivers with an ambulance ride, I believe, is $50. That may or may not be a lot of money to you. But getting into a collision and not getting to the hospital on time is one problem. Two, not getting to the hospital at all, or putting the baby's life at risk because you experience a collision. Because speeding is known to increase your chance of being in a collision. It's just what it is. So we would like you to do a safe move. Either go well in advance because you made a plan and stick to it, and you say, okay, when things start, I'm going to be ahead of the game, and we're going to calmly drive ourselves to the hospital, because you can do that within the limit. But this concept of having an excuse to speed, it's not an excuse. It's putting other people at risk as well as yourself. I'm in wordy answer mode today. Every answer is going to be wordy. I'm sorry.
What happens?
Go ahead.
What happens if you catch someone smoking a joint in their car?
Well, they would likely be arrested for impaired operation offenses because you're not allowed to have open alcohol or marijuana or drugs in your car. So being charged now, if it's a substance that's not legal, there's other issues at hand. But if it's simply marijuana or alcohol, impaired operation offenses would be applicable. So they'd be arrested. You cannot consume drugs or alcohol in a motor vehicle at all. Moving back to, are purple fog lights illegal? Actually, yes, they are. You can only project white or amber light to the front of your vehicle. So any other color would be illegal, and you'd be eligible for an improper headlight charge, and it's $110. No demerit points, but who wants a ticket? Why go there? Now, simply mounting it to your vehicle isn't illegal, but using it on your vehicle would be.
What about if it was a... Whoa.
I'm just hearing voices. It's a problem.
Okay.
We have a course going on, so they're moving through our hallways, and it's an interesting course. They're actually doing, is it the SFST? So standard field sobriety testing is going on, and it's a very interesting course. It's one of the great tools we have for fighting or finding impaired driving. Go ahead.
What happens if it was a passenger that was smoking marijuana in the car then?
Same deal. Can't have open alcohol. Now, the driver may not be arrested for impaired operation at that point, but well, it's arguable there. If it's smoke, everyone's consuming it, so there is a potential there. Now, when you're talking about simply having open containers or possessing open bottles or open unsealed marijuana, because you can't even have marijuana that's not sealed from factory. So if you're by factory, like it was on an assembly line, but if you buy marijuana illegally and it comes sealed, that's the only way you can transport it in the passenger compartment of your vehicle. Same as alcohol. If you buy alcohol and it's sealed from the bottling company, that is going to be legal to transport in the passenger compartment, but it has to be out of reach of the driver for both of those. Best place to transport it is the trunk. So if your passenger has marijuana on them, they're smoking it actively, not only are you getting secondhand, which is arguable as to whether or not you're consuming it, but it's within reach, and that's a problem. Okay. Should I move over to police sirens? Should I move over to police if sirens not on? And now, I don't know if your question means sirens as in the audible sound, but they still have flashing lights. If they have flashing lights, I would argue that you should be moving over just anyway, but definitely when sirens are present. Sometimes we'll have the lights on and only use the audible siren when necessary to clear a road, whether it be air horns or siren or specifically going through an intersection. So should you move over? Just in general, you see flashing lights, would you concur that moving over is probably a good idea? Yeah. Sergeant Kulik agrees. The deal is that we put them on. If you see the lights move, if you don't see the lights, we're probably going to amp it up and make some noise, but definitely move over. If there's nothing on, if you meant like just you see a police car, should I move over? No, we're just motor vehicles at that point.
Time?
We might be hearing from, hey, Nick.
Associates are number one. Call 416
3 minutes.
3 minutes. Okay, we got the heads up that we're 3 minutes away. So we'll come back in 3 minutes. Okay. Do I have to signal before pulling over for police? This is a great question, too. Anytime you're making a move with your motor vehicle and it may interfere with the operation of another vehicle, yeah, you got to signal. It's part of that. That's a rule under the HTA. So regardless if you're moving over because you want to make a lane change or because you simply are moving out of the way of a police officer's emergency vehicle on its way to do something, yeah, signal your intention, because if you end up in a collision, that's going to be a problem. You could find yourself being charged. And if you're moving out of the way for a police vehicle and you end up in a collision and someone has a dash camera, that's going to record the fact that you did not signal, making you more responsible for a collision. Okay. Let's see here. Can you drive a car with no doors legally? Well, if you look at Jeeps or Broncos or vehicles designed to be operated without their doors, it's not a problem. I would say that it's a potential problem for vehicles. Well, they're not structural. I don't think it's going to be illegal. I can't say for certain if vehicles that are not designed to be used on the road without doors. So if you have a vehicle like a Jeep designed to be used on the road, no issue. I can't say for certain if there's any issue with driving a car not designed to be used on the road. So, yeah. We'll have to look into that a little more. I've had the question before. I get muddied up with the answer both sides. What is this? You police over there are so different to UK police. Okay. It's probably the lack of accent. Well, I guess we have the accent here. I actually don't know how things go there. We're still in commercial. Okay. Let's see. What vehicle modifications are legal? Basically everything that isn't illegal. I don't have a specific list of charges or modifications. The fact is, anything that's unsafe is probably illegal. If you're going too high, too low, too dark in terms of tint, if you're modifying things outside of safety requirements, it's illegal. But I don't have a list that I can give you right now. If you have specific questions or things you're thinking of, by all means, ask and we'll go through them. We're going to be joining Jerry Agar, News Talk 1010, very shortly. We're just still in commercial, but we're going to come back in a second. And I think we're going to hold some questions until we go 60 seconds. Okay, let's bring up his volume. We're going to have a little commercial.
Coming up in less than 30 seconds here. Stand by, Sean.
Okay, we'll be ready to go.
With available Pro Power on board.
Well, look at us.
Just two girls.
We're almost there, guys.
Awesome
We
trucks.
are
Built for
just
a
looking
bright
at some
future
questions to
ahead.
use when we're
Order the
back on
future today and get a factory order bonus on select new 2022 F-150 and all new 2022 Ranger models. For details, contact your Toronto area Ford dealer or visit Ford.ca.
I got a question from regarding Italian driver's licenses. We'll use that.
Catch Evan Solomon weekdays noon until 2 on News Talk 1010.
Okay, who's better, Toronto or Ottawa for a police force? Well, I have to say I'm obligated to say Toronto. I'll just get that out of the way.
Our show continues on the iHeart.
Here we go.
Radio
We're live with
Network.
Jerry.
And I am joined by PC Sean Shapiro, traffic safety programs, traffic operations. He does a program on TikTok. It's at Traffic Services on TikTok. And then from time to time, we dip in and share the ride. Sean Shapiro, the TikTok traffic cop. Good morning.
Good morning, Jerry. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Let me start with something I got from one of our people, one of our producers, Donnie. He said I could use his name. He sent this in. I want to give you the whole exchange, and then you can answer. He says, can you do me a favor and ask the traffic cop if it is illegal to pay someone else's parking meter in Toronto/Ontario? And I said, good one. Do you walk around town like Secret Santa plugging meters? And he wrote back, sometimes.
It's not illegal, but that's with meters. You can feed someone else's meter as much as you want. The issue is if you're going to be feeding one that needs a printed ticket and how you would get that in their vehicle. So breaking into their vehicle, bad to display, but it's a wonderful gesture if someone wants to do that. Certainly not illegal.
Okay, well, you could, I guess, put the ticket under the windshield and hope nobody takes it.
You'd be hoping. And at that point, the issue might be that either they come back and find it, and that's great, or someone else takes it, and they're in a situation where they get a ticket, and that's a problem. But I worry
about that when I've had to pay with my motorcycle. I mean, what am I supposed to do? I stick it under the strap that's on the back seat of the motorcycle, or I clip it to the windshield, and then I just have to trust somebody isn't going to take it and put it on their car.
But Jerry, what are you doing paying for parking in the city of Toronto on a motorcycle? It's free parking at Pay and Display.
Okay, two things on that. This isn't always in Toronto that I'm talking about.
Okay.
But secondly, why is that? Why should I get free parking because I'm on a motorcycle?
My understanding is that it's promoting using vehicles that have less of a footprint, both in terms of carbon footprint and space. You can get more motorcycles into one spot. It's promoting more fuel-efficient vehicles.
Oh, okay.
I don't make the rules. That's my understanding.
No, I know that. I know that. Okay, here's a question that was texted in. Is the school zone speed limit void at 2 a.m.?
No, it is always enforced unless there's a sign that says only when flashing or only between times. And I've not seen many of them like that. So if there's no special instructions, assume that it is always enforced.
Okay. But you can understand where people think, well, this doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. School is definitely not in.
True, but people who may be operating, walking, playing, they assume that it's always in. And the fact is that unless it says otherwise, it is. So if I'm walking my dog and I'm used to the fact that that's a 50 zone or a 40 zone or 30 zone, I'm going to act accordingly. And if someone says, I'm going to go faster just because no one's there, you're putting those people at risk.
Here's a person who writes in, as a truck driver, as a big truck driver, you're up above and you look down into cars. And so this person says, as a truck driver, I can tell you that the texting laws accomplished only one thing. People are now holding their phones down on their lap while they're texting and driving.
I can tell you that I loved doing speed enforcement and cell phone enforcement from a motorcycle or from the SUVs. It's a great opportunity to see into a vehicle, and it's true. People used to be very open and easy to spot when they were using their phones, and now they're tucking them down way low. It's a problem either way. It doesn't matter whether you're holding it high or low, you're distracted and you're going to increase your odds of a collision. But the trucker's absolutely right. And I love those high perch vehicles so I can see inside. And it's a problem. People can't seem to put their phones down. But what many people don't realize is the concept or what the consequences are for being caught. $615 fine, 3 demerit points on conviction, 3-day suspension on conviction. I imagine a quite heavy hike to your insurance. And that's assuming you didn't get into a collision. The collision would do its own effect for you.
Take a call here in a moment and have you do a TikTok question or two, but a little follow-up on that. If I have my phone on speaker, I just set it on the dash or whatever, and I'm talking to somebody, I'm assuming that's legal, and I'm also assuming it is legal to use my Google Maps or that kind of thing.
So definitely both good comments. One, if your phone is on speaker and you're not touching it, holding it. Many people put it on hands-free mode, they call it, and then hold their phone to their face. That's not hands-free. It's speakerphone mode while still in your hands, and that is crazy illegal. But if you put your phone down or it's in a mount and it's on speakerphone mode, absolutely legal. You can answer and hang up. Those are the two options you have, basically quickly pressing one button or swiping to answer, and that's it. When it comes to a GPS mode, you can set it and forget it and leave it in a mount, but you cannot be doodling around and setting destinations while you're driving. That is active use of your cell phone, and you're still eligible for a ticket.
Oh, quickly, there's a question that ties into this. Well, how about breaker? Good buddy. Can you use a CB while you're driving the truck?
There are very specific exclusions, and that is a handheld communication device. For amateur radio operators, I believe we're covered as an exemption. I'd have to check if CB general is accepted, but police, fire, ambulance are all covered under an exclusion or an exemption specifically for that reason.
Here is Rich from Toronto. Rich, what's your question?
Last week you were on the show, and I wasn't sure if I heard correctly. Did you say it was illegal to enter an intersection on an amber?
Yes. So an amber light means stop unless it's unsafe to do so. So let's say, because we're in a slippery situation like today where many people have been in motor vehicle collisions just this morning when I was driving in, as a matter of fact. But as you're approaching an amber light, you're expected to stop. But if it was slippery conditions or if you felt it was unsafe and it was arguably unsafe, you would be accepted to go through that. So it's conditional. It depends on the environmental situations. Now, if you're doing the appropriate speed for the road conditions, you should be able to stop in time.
Thanks for your call, Rich. I appreciate it. Here is...
I think Rich was going to... Sorry, I think Rich was going to say, is it a ticket if you go through? And yes, you could be charged.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Here's Angelo from Toronto. Angelo? Okay, Angelo missed
he answered.
the yellow light.
He's still there.
I'm sorry. I couldn't hear him.
Okay.
What have you got on TikTok?
On TikTok. Okay. We had a couple of them. They bounced away. Let's see. I'm going to find one really quickly. Is an Italian driver's license valid in Ontario if I come to visit? That's a great question. We have a lot of international persons who come onto our TikTok and ask these questions. And the deal is that if you're visiting from another country, your driver's license will be accepted. However, if you move here, then you have to apply within 30 days for an Ontario driver's license. And the international driver's licenses are accepted for, I believe it's up to 6 months, but it may be a little longer. We'd have to double check for you.
I got pulled over when I was living in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I had not gone and changed my license from Tennessee, where I'd lived before that. And the police officer said, "You live here?" And I said, "Yes, I do." "You've been here a while?" He was looking at me, and I really got the impression he knew who I was from the radio. So he knew how long I'd been around. And I said, "Well, sir, it's been a little while." He said, "I'd get that changed if I were you." And then he let me go.
You know what? Not every interaction results in a ticket, and sometimes it's simply a reminder or a suggestion, and it's dealt with.
Here is Anthony from Hamilton.
Hi, how are you today?
We're well. Go ahead.
I've always wondered about the legality of making a left-hand turn from a one-way onto a one-way as long as you're going in the right direction, as long as you stop. And I seem to not be able to get an appropriate answer.
Well, you're absolutely right. The only time that you can make a one-way or a left turn on a red light is when you are on a one-way making a turn onto another one-way. Otherwise, the only time you can make a turn on a red is right turn.
Okay, Anthony, thanks very much. There's sort of a follow-up question here. When you said, and I'm glad the question got asked, about a foreign license. I mean, we drive into the United States. Our license is good. If you're licensed somewhere else, then for a period of time you're licensed. Okay, what about a cop out of jurisdiction? Can you, Sean, if you're out of your jurisdiction, pull somebody over for an infraction?
So I'm a police officer for the entire province of Ontario. I'm probably not going to be doing traffic enforcement out well away from my area of policing, but I do have the lawful authority to do it. And if I was going to lay a charge, I'd be phoning a friend and having a local police officer do that, because I wouldn't make someone come to Toronto to fight the ticket that I charge them with. That being said, very often we cross over the border, and within one jurisdiction we can issue a ticket.
What if you're in Manitoba?
I have no lawful authority as a police officer unless I'm there on a specific detail or reason, and I've possibly been sworn in with a special arrangement. I would not, as a Toronto police officer, be doing anything there, because I'm not a police officer there, unless, again, I'm RCMP sworn. And they do that for certain specific things, like Olympics. When we go and support as police officer, they'd actually, I guess, deputize us or have us sworn in with the RCMP for that purpose.
All right, but you're a cop in Toronto, you're a cop in Thunder Bay.
Yes.
All right. Quick question. You're on with us from time to time. What's your schedule on TikTok?
9 a.m. to 10 a.m. is what we've been doing. It's Monday to Friday. Now, I happen to be off coming this Thursday, and I'll be off for 2 weeks. But I think I'm going to do this thing where I volunteer for a couple of weeks and still do the live segments Monday to Friday, or at least some level, because I don't want to leave my listeners without answers.
All right, Sean Shapiro at Traffic Services on TikTok and occasionally with us, but probably not now until the new year with your vacation in mind. So have a very Merry Christmas, and we'll talk in the new year.
To you
Thanks
as well.
so
To
much.
everyone out. Take care.
All right, thank you. This is the iHeartRadio Talk Network.
Okay. So we'll put News Talk into the background, and we're back to our stuff. You know, I always have fun when we're on the air with Jerry. It's a great time, and we've been doing this for a while, and I think we'll keep on doing it. Q says Friday. Friday what? This Friday? Am I going to do it live on Friday?
No, Thursday or Friday? You said Thursday.
I'm taking Friday off.
But you said Thursday.
Did I say I'm taking Thursday off?
Yeah.
I misspoke. It happens from time to time. There's a lot of words coming out of the front of my face, and occasionally I trip over them. So
here I thought we were starting vacation early.
No. We're still going to do this live tomorrow, and then I think Friday's just not going to happen. We're not going to do anything live, but I am scheduling a rebroadcast of the interview I did with Chief Raymer of the Toronto Police Service. I actually fixed the audio because when we went live originally, oh my goodness, it was horrible. The audio, yeah. Anyway, I don't want to relive the trauma that I experienced listening to the echo that I caused because of a technical issue. Yeah. Anyway, okay.
Can I have a GoPro on my helmet?
Oh, I love this question, and it makes everybody really angry. But the answer is no. You cannot mount anything really to a helmet. The helmet laws in Ontario state that you have to have a smooth, hard shell, and you can't do anything to change that surface. If you do, you've made that an improper helmet. And there's not just because we don't want you to put stuff on your helmet. There's a reason behind it. If you go flying through the air, which I, by the way, did a few years back, and you make contact with that helmet, it's designed and intended to glide across the ground. And here's the reason why. If it doesn't, and you get caught, that's likely going to break your neck. And dying is a bad thing, at least when it's unplanned and, not when, and actually dying is never a good thing.
Yeah.
It's just never a good thing. Anyway, the deal is that you put a GoPro on there, you may cause increased injury, and thus it is not safe and illegal. If you put a body mount on, if you have a 360 camera mounted to your motorcycle, there's all sorts of alternative opportunities and ways about getting good video footage while you're riding, whether it be to protect yourself in the event of it doesn't matter if it's, I lost my train of thought, a message just popped in and I went squirrel. Okay, it's just, body mounts, alternative things. I understand the reasons of wanting to protect yourself. There are even 360 what are they called? Dash cams for motorcycles that mount to the bike properly. So lots of opportunities to protect yourself as a rider. Okay. How long can you park in a no parking zone? I believe it's 10 minutes. Now, it's for immediate unloading and loading. It's not for going to get a paper or get a coffee. It's for immediate unloading and loading. So you may be eligible for a ticket depending on what is observed. Let's see here. Oh, there's some interesting questions. Can you make a right turn? Can you make a turn on a red light? So we just covered that with Jerry, but can you make a turn on a red light? Yeah, right turns are illegal. You have to stop, come to a complete stop, and ensure it's safe to do so before you do that. But you can make a right turn, and you can make a left turn. We just talked about it on the air. You can make a left turn if you're on a one-way going to another one-way. Do I have to yield for drivers merging on a highway? So they have to yield to you. Should you, as a courtesy, you should be nice to the other drivers. You should give them an opportunity to get in. Do you have to? So if you're in stop and go traffic, do you have to? Zipper is the most effective way for traffic to go. People who think that they don't have to, I don't think you can be charged for it. I'm not familiar with a fail to let someone in your lane. I have to read that up because I don't have a good answer for you. I don't think it is, but I don't want to give you a 100% answer and be wrong. So we're going to look it up. You know what we're going to do? Where's my other phone? Here's my other phone. I'm going to multitask here. Can Ottawa City Police pull you over on a highway? I can't speak for Ottawa's policies, but they're officers sworn in the province of Ontario, and they can pull people over for offenses, Highway Traffic Act or otherwise. So yes, they could. Let's see here. I'm doing a quick lookup because I want to see yield. See if I find it easily. If we find it easily, we'll do it. And in the meantime, I'll just remind everybody that my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service, and we're here on TikTok answering your traffic and police questions. So why do we do it? Well, because we used to go, live at events and be able to meet you in person and answer your questions one-on-one. And now we're doing one too many. We had over 1,000 people in the room not too long ago, and we were on the air with News Talk 1010, which was thousands of people's listening. So, is this the most effective way to get our messaging out and answer questions? Yeah, it is. So. We keep on doing it, and it's fantastic. We've got tremendous support within our service, both of police officers and members of the public and senior command, and we couldn't be happier. We're really thrilled to be able to be here as a resource for you, and we're going to keep on doing it. Okay. Fail to yield, enter roadway when not safe, fail to yield. I'm just reading all these headings for charges. Fail to yield to vehicle on right. Fail to yield. I don't see traffic on highway, fail to yield. So, yeah, I believe it's all going to be people entering the road have to yield. So it might hold you up a bit, but yeah, I don't think they have to let you in. And yeah. If I find different later, I'll put a TikTok on about it, but I don't see anything there. Okay, let's keep on going. Let's keep it moving. Let me look at Instagram for a second. We've got a bunch of questions here. People asking about Sarnia Police. I just met some officers from Sarnia Police. Okay. So someone making some statements about Sarnia Police, if you have complaints about any police service, there's something called the OIPRD, and that is the organization that you can complain to and provide the things in relation to the questions you're asking. I'm not going to address it here because it's really not my place to do it, but you can certainly discuss it on by talking to the OIPRD, and apparently Q's already given you that information. Okay, and let's see here. Question is, after you get... Oh, okay, here's a question. Hi there, my question is, after you get your G2, how long should you stay to book your G2? How long you should... from your G2 to your G, you have to be driving for a year. Now, whether or not you have to wait that period of time until you can book it, I don't know. That's a great question for them. But you have to have a year before you can take it. So take that as you will. Linda says hi to all. She's coming in from Facebook. Rob Frazier says hi to Jerry for him, but I'm sorry I missed that until after. We have Big Jeff Fresh. Oh, he likes my jacket. This is our new replacement to the sweater. I quite like these too. It's getting a little chilly. Some days it's chilly in here. Some days it's not. Ryan wants to know Robbins or Tim's. Well, I don't know what Robbins is. I'm assuming you're talking about Tim Hortons for coffee. I tend to frequent Tim's because it's close by, and I like their coffee. What can I say? But that's not to say I would not have coffee somewhere else. I have coffee when I need caffeine. It's not a question of being picky. I'm going to have that caffeine because I need it. This body's fueled on caffeine. Okay. Are there any? What is this? Oh, are there any consequences for passengers with their feet out the window? That's a great question from Ryan. No, I don't think there's any charge. I mean, I pulled someone over to talk about how badly they were going to be injured and likely not walk properly after a collision because the airbag deploying at speed, loss of limb, tremendous injuries as a result. This is the worst thing you can do. Possibly if they were doing the feet up on the dashboard, you could possibly have improper seatbelt because I've seen people slide right out underneath them, so maybe a seatbelt charge, but just having a foot out the window, a really bad idea, but I don't believe it's illegal. And I could be wrong. There could be a charge. So if you know about a charge, let me know. Is it a charge out by you? Because you're in Nova Scotia, so I'd be curious to know. Okay. Can you ticket someone remotely from a TikTok video? It's a great question. I see a lot of videos of people really going bananas on the road, 200 kilometers an hour. Is it cause for an investigation? Potentially. Problem is I can't tell who the driver is. And that's a problem for laying a charge.
Can I drive with both the international driver's license and a G1 driver's license?
No. As soon as you apply for a G1 driver's license, your international or license from your home country or state or province or wherever you are coming in from that was issued, no longer valid. As soon as you have a G1, that is your driver's license. You cannot operate a vehicle under any other license in this jurisdiction in the province of Ontario. So that is that. But just to follow up on that whole TikTok video, we love getting those videos. If we somehow use it to identify, we get at very least reach out and have a chat with them. So we do things like that. And there's a way to submit complaints online. Now, granted, if it's in the city of Toronto, you would be using our online forum available through the Citizen Online Report entry, which is www.torontopolice.on.ca/core, CORE. So you can certainly use that. Let's see here. How can a new driver learn winter driving? I'm two. In terms of learning winter driving, you drive in it. A lot of people try and say, well, I need to be able to do spins and donuts and turns you don't need to do that to learn winter driving. Is it a great tool? Yeah, take a driving course, do it on a closed track. Don't use parking lots which are not property that anyone wants you learning to drive on. The owners of that property don't want you there. You should not be doing things that could be considered stunt driving. Forcing your car into a spin is not a way to learn driving. Avoiding getting into a spin is the way to learn driving. And at the end of the day, go slow. Okay. Just make sure we have nobody being ignored here. Peter Vachon, hopefully I'm pronouncing your name properly, says, Merry Christmas, officer and team. The question is, okay. The question is, can a TTC driver or transit driver be charged for running a red light while in service? Absolutely. They are a driver like any other and responsible for all the rules of the road. In fact, if they're violating the rules of the road and they're charged, I believe they end up being sent home for the day, and their supervisor has to be notified, and there's all sorts of things that happen. So yes, they can be, and they do get charged. I have laid charges in relation to collisions. I've not seen any that run lights, but if I did, I'd act on it. Okay. What is the biggest ticket you've given? What's the biggest ticket you've given, Sgt Campbell?
No insurance.
No insurance is the biggest? I've given a lot of no insurance, so that is a big ticket because the fines for that range from $5,000 to $25,000, as well as the opportunity to be put into jail for up to 6 months. So that is a serious offense. It is
monetary fines are only part of it.
The increase in your insurance going forward? Oh, yes. So not only are the fines for the immediate charge, which are determined in court, because there's no fixed amount that's associated with driving without insurance. So it's always that lottery. You never know what you're going to get. And there's aggravating factors as well. Were you also stunt driving while you were driving with no insurance? Because obviously your risk to the public and impact. You want a microphone? The headphones are down there. Oh, headphones are right here. Sorry. We're almost done, but Sgt Campbell's popping in for a few. Okay. Giving him some audio. You get the audio of him putting his headphones on. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back. We missed you.
Well, you know what? A busy morning this morning, so.
I imagine. It's always busy here. People say, well, how do you get time to sit here on TikTok? Because there's a lot of people doing other things to make sure I have, the hour to spend staring at a camera. But,
Good morning.
Good morning, Q.
So what were you going to say? We were talking about, are you just jumping on to the next question, or are you still anything to add about?
No. I guess it's a hard thing to answer. What's the biggest ticket? I mean, there are lots of very serious tickets, especially if you're involved in a collision, you hurt somebody or you kill somebody. Those are big tickets that may also have a huge penalty as well, but.
Sure, and then there's the criminal side of things, because there's tickets, but then there's many times that we're dealing with situations with impaired driving, which they're still driving offenses. We're still dealing with things, and they have a serious financial impact, because you could spend $45,000 defending an impaired operation charge, depending on which lawyer you choose and whatnot. And then you may have long-term things of having to pay for an interlock program, incredibly high rates. So it depends on what we say is, what's the highest or biggest charge or offense. It's all of them are bad. We want people to be driving safely. We're not looking to get a high score here. So yeah, at the end of the day, I'd much rather everyone just drive safely and we don't have to write any tickets or investigate anyone for impaired, because they're all doing the right thing. That would be fantastic. Realistic?
I agree. I want to give a big shout out to everybody this morning, especially traveling in Toronto. On my way to work this morning, I saw quite a few vehicles that had been traveling too quickly, had spun out, had come into contact with other vehicles with the highway barriers and all that. Cars traveling too fast for the road conditions. A big shout out for all the people that did actually slow down, took their time, knew about it in advance like I did this morning and left. I left 20 minutes earlier than I normally do, and I was here on time. But I did have to travel slower than I normally do. So.
And thank you for the telephone call that told me to get off the highway and avoid all that, because that was not good. That was some significant slowdown. And we talk about how to plan your route and how to make sure that you get to where you're going safely, and knowing what's ahead of you, whether it be by using something like Waze that tells you that there's stuff going on ahead of you and alerts you, maybe reroutes you away from a collision, or listening to the radio. I mean, not always podcasts are great, but you don't get that live alert of a news channel like 680 News telling you, hey, this is what's going on. And after we spoke, I didn't know how long it had been in play. I called 680 to say, hey, are you already aware of all these collisions? Yeah, we're on it. But the idea of sharing that in the old school sharing of social, GPS, making sure that everybody in Toronto sort of gets an idea of what to do so they can plan ahead. Yeah, it's been really slippery.
It is, especially in the mornings.
Yeah.
Most of the mornings.
As traffic travels over those roads, the heat of the vehicles tends to melt the material, the ice and slickness goes away. But if there's less traffic after some traffic, then it refreezes, can be slick again. Lots of problems. So be cautious. Something that I didn't get to talk about on air with Jerry, and I totally planned to, was talking about impaired driving. On Monday night, we did 104 breath tests, roadside screening tests during our ride program. And I'm very happy to say that 104 people passed. There were no arrests that night. I haven't got the stats for last night, but I'm hoping that we were as good or better. Crossing fingers. But I'll report that. If we did well, I'll mention it. If we didn't, we'll wait till next week to see what happened for stats.
It's the same when you have to actually say that that's a good thing. That should be the norm.
That's absolutely right. But unfortunately, we've not had days where we do that many tests, and we haven't had. So it's more a rarity now. Now, for anyone who's wondering, why are we testing 104 people? Were there 104 people that we smelt alcohol with, or did we have anything going on? There's something called mandatory alcohol screening, and that is a new, relatively new, I think 2018 came into play. It's been happening across the planet. Many other countries do this and have been doing it for a very long time. And that is where we can test someone, perform a roadside screening test, without the necessity of forming suspicion first. There's a number of reasons for that. You tend to not everybody presents with an odor of alcohol, even if they have alcohol. Not everybody who has who admits to having alcohol, because those are the two things for suspicion. You have either someone who's driving that either says they have alcohol in their system, or have had alcohol, consumed it, or the presence of an odor of an alcoholic beverage. So one of those two things used to be required to make it to man. Whereas now, you are the next contestant coming through my ride program, or the fifth person I pulled over today. And in my book, I wrote down every 5 cars I'm stopping somebody and doing a test. Whatever those things are, as long as they were set up beforehand, it's a great system.
Yeah, and it has to be random. We can't be targeting people for doing that. And randomness is randomness. You could use whatever criteria you want. Every car that I stopped today for speeding, I'm going to test, because I want to make sure that everybody that is out here is safe. It's amazing because the legislation went into place long before COVID came, and we were allowed to do that in 2018, I believe it is when it changed. Mm-hmm. And it's worked really well for police services across Canada, because with COVID, I don't want to be sticking my head inside somebody's vehicle to try and form my grounds that they might smell like alcohol, nor do they want me sticking my head in their car either. So it's a good tool. It came at a great time. Yeah. And it's working. It really is.
It is. I never really liked that whole, hey, can you breathe on me bit, so I can test what's in your mouth. Smell. It's not as glorified. It's not one of those wonderful things that, but it was the way to do it. It was the best way to do it. So this is fantastic. It definitely changes the game. And by not only making it random, you test more people. You test people who may be more professional impaireds, people who don't show the obvious signs of alcohol. in any case, I wanted to mention that and discuss it. There are ride programs going on every single night until the new year, and we're always looking for impaired drivers. And ride program or ride season isn't really just now, but we have an abundance of support, and we know that there's drivers out there, and we're catching them. 34 people were arrested over the weekend for impaired operation offenses. 34 is the highest number that Scott Matthews has reported since 2018 when he started doing the weekly reports and putting them up online. 34 is way too high. I mean, 1 is too high in my opinion, but 34 is the highest. We've been seeing on average 15-ish, but this is a jump.
Well, you know what? I made a comment to one of our newspaper reporters the previous weekend that when we had 22 people that were caught drinking and driving, 22 people that were not thinking and being responsible and smart, and I called it disgusting for 22 people to actually think that that was all right.
You need a bigger word now. What trumps
I don't
disgusting?
know. I don't know how you get worse than it's
vile.
Disgusting.
Vile. It's vile. That's it. Someone can quote me. It's vile. Switching channels for a second. We have a question saying, can someone call in car via Bluetooth? And yeah, you can use a Bluetooth headphone. You can't dial. You can't type numbers. So if you have voice dictation where you can say, hey, call this number, or call Bob, if that works, because I do that with Siri. I just dictate, hey, call my wife, and it does it. Did you know you can set up your iPhone? I don't know if it's the same for Samsung, but you can say, call my brother, and it'll say, who's your brother? And you select who your brother is, and then it forever knows who your brother is. I wonder if you have 2 brothers. I guess actually it probably does the thing. Did you mean Bob or Doug? Or Daryl? Is it Daryl, Bob, Doug, or what?
Daryl and Daryl?
Daryl and Daryl.
I think that was from a TV show. Bob and Doug, I think, was a movie.
Yeah?
Bob and Doug McKenzie.
And then, but where's Daryl come into play? What's that from?
This is
my brother Daryl and my other brother Daryl?
Okay. It was a TV show from the 80s.
Yes. Okay. Question here. Want to get pulled over by you because you're my fave. I hate to break it to you. I'm not stopping anybody, but I appreciate being your fave. But I'm not doing any vehicle stops because I'm not currently on the road. I'm in an administrative capacity, so I'm not out there patrolling. But when I do, I'll let you know. So, but you don't want to break the law just to get pulled over.
You probably don't want to get pulled over by me because
no.
You know what? I have a job to do, and there is no favoritism. There is no. If I'm stopping you, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm there to correct the behavior. So.
Yeah, and I got to tell you that as much as I've had many warnings issued, warnings usually came when there were more than one charge. If I got out of the car, it was going to be a charge. I didn't stop you to have a conversation and high five you or it's because you did something wrong and you're getting a ticket. Very rarely did someone leave without getting one, and I was pretty standard across the board.
Wouldn't you be extra disappointed if you guys were like members of this show and you get pulled over?
Well, it's funny you say that because I was once asked if I would give my mother a ticket or a family member a ticket. And my answer is the same today as it was then. If you know what I do and you don't respect what I do, which is trying to keep people safe, and you as a family member or friend of mine are choosing to put others at risk, then you're getting a ticket too, because you've chosen to disrespect me and the laws and things that I feel very strongly about. I am a traffic officer because I want to be a traffic officer. Nobody forced me to come here. So if my mom did it, I would expect that she would accept that ticket with grace, and that's the deal.
You know what? Thanksgiving dinner may be a little bit different, but you know what? If you're stopping bad driving behavior and keeping everybody safe, at least everybody can be there for Thanksgiving dinner.
Well, that's it. A couple of weeks ago, we had someone, we had reports, I don't remember the number, it might have been 22 again for a number of arrests. And one of the tidbits, because I always include the tidbits that are shared with me, in the case last week, it was 8 people had more than double, 2 people were arrested by drug, and 1 person had their shoes in the wrong feet. But that time, it was that a member of their family had called it in to have them arrested. And I gave them, kudos to that person. If you are willing to put your relationship on the line to save a life, whether it be the person who's driving or someone that they may hit and kill, or these collisions aren't just collisions. Drunk drivers don't just have a fender bender and it's okay. They tend to kill people, and those are families and communities that are affected. So if you see someone who, doesn't matter if it's family member or not, the relationship that you might lose does not compete, in my opinion, with the families and lives that will be affected by them potentially getting into a collision. And they need to be stopped. Whether it's that day, that's a pattern of behavior that isn't specific to that one night. If they're drinking and driving tonight, that means they could be doing it again tomorrow. They need to be taken off the road. They need to have an intervention. And if you come into a situation where you have people in your life that are breaking that particular rule, they're putting lives at risk, I would strongly suggest that you do the hard thing, which is call police and report them if you can't stop them yourself.
And you know what? I will say thank you as well, because it could be me that you're saving.
Yeah, my kids, my family, my friends, they're all on the road. You always get my support if you do the right thing. Listen, we've gone over time, but it's a great show today. I had a lot of fun, and thanks so much, and thanks to Jerry Agar and the gang at News Talk 1010. Q, thank you. I'm in the thankful mood today. It's the holiday season. Everyone's so happy and cheery. And do we have hot chocolate? We need hot chocolate. Yeah.
I want hot chocolate. Can we get marshmallows?
I'm not big on marshmallows, but I would do more. We need to do a Christmas episode. It's too soon. I'd come in for a Christmas episode. Maybe I'll put on a red shirt.
Oh, there you go.
Mod brunch?
A brunch? A live brunch?
I don't know how I feel about that.
Okay. Before we go too far down the rabbit hole, we've gone down it anyway. But have a wonderful day, everybody. We're going to sign off. I've got to make like 2 weeks worth of TikToks right now. I'll catch everybody soon, like tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow, 9 a.m. tomorrow. Come back. We'll talk again.
Thursday, guys. Thursday.
Tomorrow's Thursday. Is it tomorrow Thursday?
Well, you said you weren't going to be on Thursday.
Oh yeah, Thursday we're here. I'm gonna go put it in the notes now.
Okay.
Take care, everyone.
Guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, I'm ending there. We're still here, and I'm just going to... Okay, we got everybody. I think we covered everything. Oh, Peter says goodbye. Bye, everyone. All right, we're signing off. We're taking care, and we'll see you tomorrow, 9 a.m.